My mom remarried and brought me along, but I found out that my stepfather was peeping at me every day. My mom remarried and brought me along. My stepfather seemed like a rough man, but he treated my mom well. He has a son who is a year older than me, tall and thin and quite gentle. When we first moved into this house, I thought my mom's new husband was not bad. But gradually, I noticed something was off. My stepfather seemed to be peeping at me. At first, I accidentally discovered that every time I looked up, I would meet my stepfather's gaze. He was always smiling at me, asking if I was getting used to living here. After a while, I found it strange. I started to pay attention to his every move and then realized he often stared at my neckline or my thighs, and this discovery sent chills down my spine. I was very scared and didn't dare to wear low-cut clothes or shorts anymore. I thought about whether to tell my mom, but he hadn't done anything to me, and I had no evidence to prove he had ulterior motives. Moreover, my mom loved him very much. Ever since she married this man, she smiled more, and I couldn't bear to shatter her beautiful fantasy. But I didn't know if my silence made my stepfather think I was too scared to tell my mom. He actually started to become more brazen. One day while I was taking a shower, he suddenly pushed open the bathroom door and walked in, and I screamed in fright. "What are you doing? Get out!" He seemed surprised by my reaction and kept apologizing, saying he didn't mean to and didn't know I was in the bathroom. But I saw through his hypocrisy. His gaze was full of greed. This incident terrified me. I hurriedly put on my clothes and rushed back to my room, locking the door behind me. But I was still very scared. I remembered I had locked the door while showering, so how could he come in? Was locking the room door even useful? I trembled all over, huddled in the corner, staring at the door, hoping my mom would come home from work soon. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I decided to tell my mom everything my stepfather had done to me. I waited and waited, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., until my mom finally came home from work. Hearing my mom's voice, I immediately opened the door, threw myself into her arms, and cried like rain. I hugged my mom tightly around the waist, just about to tell her about my stepfather barging into the bathroom, but when I looked up, I froze. Because I saw my stepfather's phone playing a video of him and my mom, and he clicked to forward it. I saw the words, "Do you want to forward?" pop up on the screen. Looking at those 4 words, I felt a chill all over, and the words I wanted to say got stuck in my throat. My mom hugged me, looking worried. "What's wrong, Yeye? Why are you crying?" I looked at my mom, my heart aching, and finally had to change the subject. "Mom, just now, I saw a really big spider in the room, and I was so scared." My mom was startled. "Where? Let your uncle go check your room." My stepfather put away his phone, revealing a smiling face. "What's going on? Where's the spider? I'll go kill it right now." Seeing my stepfather's hypocritical face made me feel sick, and I didn't want him to enter the room, but thinking of the video I just saw, I had no choice but to agree. My stepfather searched for the spider in my room, but after looking around, he couldn't find it. My mom went to take a shower since she had just come home from work. After my mom left, I dared to show my stepfather my angry expression, glaring at him. "Delete it." My stepfather looked triumphant. "Delete it? If you don't give me something good, why should I delete it? This isn't something I forced your mom to film. Do you want to see your mom's expression? Trust uncle, I won't treat you unfairly." Just look at your mom's expression and you'll know." He laughed lewdly and I trembled with anger, lunging to grab his phone. "Don't you dare slander my mom." I tried to snatch his phone, but he grabbed me instead. I felt sick and wanted to vomit, pushing him away with all my might. "Let go of me." My stepfather buried his face in my neck, taking a deep breath, looking infatuated. You smell so good. If you let me touch you, I'll delete the video. How about it?" "Don't worry, I won't tell your mom." I trembled with anger. How could he be so shameless? I shouted, "You wish." I struggled wildly, punching and kicking him, but he held me down tightly, his face turning fierce. "Fine, if you don't let me touch you, I'll forward the video so everyone can see what your mom looks like." I was furious, my veins bulging. "You dare?" My stepfather squeezed my chin. "Try it." His hand reached under my clothes, and I felt both disgusted and angry, but for the sake of my mom's video, I had to endure the nausea. "You have to delete my mom's video first." My stepfather looked fierce. "You don't have the right to negotiate with me now. If you don't let me touch you, I'll forward the video." I was so angry I couldn't speak, and just then there was a knock on the door, and my stepfather's son called from outside. "Dad, did you find the spider in Yoya's room?" Only then did my stepfather get off me, and his son opened the door and came in. I looked carefully but still couldn't find it. It must have run away. My mom had just finished showering, and hearing my stepfather's words, she looked a bit worried. "What if it comes out while Yoyu is sleeping tonight?" I said, "It's okay, Mom. I saw it crawl out of the window with my own eyes. As long as I don't open the window, it won't come back." My mom finally relaxed, but seeing her worried expression made me feel sad again, and I hated my stepfather even more. Why didn't he cherish such a good woman like my mom? My stepfather and my mom left my room together, and my stepfather's son looked at me gently. "Yuya, I'm in the next room. If the spider comes back at night, just call out and I'll hear you." I felt warm inside. My stepbrother, Feng Haoran, was as warm as his name and a gentleman, and he had helped me a few times. I couldn't understand why Feng Haoran was so good, but my stepfather, Feng Hong, was such a piece of trash. That night, I lay in bed tossing and turning, unable to sleep, my mind filled with the video of my mom. My mom is a conservative woman, and I just saw Feng Hong's video, which was secretly filmed. My mom definitely doesn't know. Does Feng Hong only have this one video of my mom? But asking Feng Hong to delete the video, he definitely won't compromise so easily, and I can't guarantee whether he has other videos. Asking him to delete the video is not the best choice. I thought about it all night and finally came up with a permanent solution. The next day, my mom went to work, and Feng Haoran also went out. When he left, he invited me to go out with him, but I refused, leaving only me and Feng Hong at home. Although I was prepared, I was still very scared. I hid in my room, staring intently at the door. It wasn't until the door opened that I clenched my fists tightly. What was meant to come would still come. Feng Hong walked in, shirtless, with a lewd smile on his face. I held back the nausea and shouted, "Don't come over." Feng Hong didn't stop, taking steps toward me. "Don't worry, as long as you sleep with me for one night, I'll delete your mom's video." I asked him, "Really? As long as I agree, you'll delete that video you used to threaten me to sleep with you?" Feng Hong was too caught up in his desires and didn't hear my trap. He walked up to me and hugged me tightly. Really, Yuyun, Uncle isn't lying to you. He buried his face in my neck, kissing me repeatedly, and I struggled desperately. You delete the video first, delete the video. Otherwise, I won't agree to you. Seeing me struggle so fiercely, Fang Hong had no choice but to take out his phone. He opened the video and deleted it in front of me. See, I've deleted it. He threw his phone away and rushed toward me, but I dodged directly. At the same time, I ran to the desk and grabbed the phone I had hidden there to record the video. I looked at the video and saw everything that had just happened was recorded. I glared at Fang Hong fiercely. Everything you just did to threaten me with the video is recorded on my phone. I'm telling you, if you touch me, I will definitely report you. Fang Hong clearly didn't expect me to have calculated against him. He lunged at me with bloodshot eyes, snatching my phone and smashing it on the ground. But I wasn't worried at all. I looked at Fang Hong's furious face and smiled. Go ahead and smash it, it doesn't matter. I've already uploaded the video to the cloud. Even if you smash my phone, I can still find the video on the cloud. Hearing my words, Fang Hong became even angrier. He raised his hand to hit me, and I stared at him with wide eyes, holding my neck. If you dare to hit me, I will definitely report you. Every hit you give me will become your punishment in prison. Fang Hong suddenly froze, a look of hesitation on his face, clearly wary of what I said. The next second, I saw him take out his phone and open another video of my mom. I guessed correctly, he didn't just have that one video. I glared at Fang Hong fiercely. You shameless! Fang Hong smirked coldly. Let me tell you, if you dare to report me, I will definitely ruin your mom's reputation. Let everyone know that your mom is a shameless slut. Just as Fang Hong and I were struggling, the sound of a door opening came from outside. It was Fang Haoran returning, and our argument came to an end. As soon as Fang Hong left, I immediately slumped to the ground like a deflated balloon. This was the first time I had done something like this, and I was really scared when confronting Fang Hong. But for my mom, I couldn't back down. Now I finally had evidence that made Fang Hong wary. That video he used to threaten me would definitely make him think twice about how he treated me and my mom. This was the permanent solution I came up with last night. Thinking that I wouldn't have to worry about what Fang Hong would do to me and my mom anymore, I was so happy that I cried. Tonight, I must expose Fang Hong's true colors in front of my mom. My mom had to work overtime again tonight, and by the time she came back, it was already 10:30 p.m. My mom looked exhausted, and I ran over to hug her, but Fang Hong came over to fawn on her at that moment. He poured hot water for my mom, massaged her shoulders and back, and praised her for being beautiful and kind, saying things like "You've worked hard, my dear wife." I was furious and felt nauseous. This was exactly how my mom was deceived by this scoundrel Fang Hong. Because of Fang Hong's interference, I hadn't been able to talk to my mom. When my mom finished showering, Fang Hong still wanted to pull her away, and I looked at my mom eagerly. Mom, we haven't slept together in a long time. Can you sleep with me tonight? But my mom looked at me and then at Fang Hong, finally rubbing my head. Yuye, you're already 19 this year, not a child anymore. You can't sleep with your mom like when you were little. I widened my eyes in unwillingness. I also saw Fang Hong's triumphant smile, and after my mom said that, she was pulled back into the room by Fang Hong. I bit my lip hard and my determination to expose Fang Hong in front of my mom became even stronger. At home, Fang Hong wouldn't let me talk to my mom alone, so I specially took a leave from school and went to wait for my mom downstairs at her company. My mom hurriedly ran down, thinking something had happened to me. Seeing the worried expression on her face made me want to cry again. I would never let Fang Hong ruin my mom. I tightly held my mom's hand and told her everything about Fang Hong spying on me, including when he barged into the bathroom while I was showering. My mom looked at me in shock, and I knew she was upset, but to make her completely give up on Fang Hong, I also told her about Fang Hong threatening me with the video. It was a bit hard to say, but I had to. When my mom heard about Fang Hong recording the video, she suddenly stood up, looking incredulous. Seeing my mom like this made me feel very uncomfortable too. Mom, Fang Hong is a scumbag. Can you divorce him and let us leave here? I don't know if the word divorce stimulated my mom, but she suddenly looked at me, and I was startled by her gaze. Mom. My mom seemed to just realize it. She waved her hand and spoke incoherently. Yu, is there some misunderstanding about this? Your uncle is not that kind of person. I didn't expect my mom to say that. The evidence was right in front of her, yet she still wanted to defend Fang Hong, which made me very angry. Mom, you don't believe me? My mom said in a panic. It's not that I don't believe you. Your uncle has always been good to me. He couldn't do such a thing. There might be some misunderstanding. I shouted angrily, there's no misunderstanding. Mom, are you reluctant to part with him? My mom opened her mouth but didn't say anything. I was so angry that my whole body trembled. Is it really like he said? Are you just a slut? As soon as I finished speaking, my mom suddenly raised her hand and slapped me hard. My face was turned to the side, but I suddenly woke up. I shouldn't have said that about my mom. My dad passed away early, and my mom has raised me alone all these years, which is actually very hard. Tears streamed down my face. Mom, I'm sorry. My mom helplessly reached out to touch my face. Yu, I'm sorry, Mom didn't mean it. I didn't speak, shook my head, and ran away. I understood my mom's hardships, but I still couldn't accept that she wouldn't divorce Fang Hong. I just got into college after the college entrance examination this year, and I lived in Fang Hong's house because my mom married him. But now, with my mom and me in such a conflict, and to force my mom to divorce Fang Hong, I returned to school to live. I didn't know how my mom asked Fang Hong, nor did I know how Fang Hong explained it. I only knew that later my mom called me and said that Fang Hong was drunk at that time and didn't recognize me, thinking I was my mom. I was so angry that I laughed. This nonsense only my mom would believe. At the same time, I felt even more disappointed in my mom, and I stopped answering her calls. For 2 whole months, I didn't see her. When she came to school to find me, I hid and didn't see her. But she is still my mom, and I felt very sad about the conflict with her until my mom sent me a text message. Yeah, tomorrow is Mom's birthday, come back tomorrow, Mom bought your favorite mango cake, let's eat cake together, okay? I instantly burst into tears, and I hesitated for a long time. In the end, I couldn't bear to make my mom sad on her birthday, so I replied with a good. The next day, I rushed to Fang Hong's house after class. Fang Haoran wasn't there. He was a year older than me, and was in his 2nd year of college this year, probably still at school, and hadn't come back yet. Only Fang Hong was at home, and I felt nauseous when I saw him. I didn't give him a good face, but he shamelessly came over and even wanted to touch my hand, and I glared at him. "Get lost!" After cursing at him, I turned around and went back to my room, waiting for my mom to come back. But I didn't expect that my mom never came back. I called her and she kept apologizing, saying she suddenly had to work overtime and might not get off work early. I was so angry that my eyes turned red, but in order to say happy birthday to my mom in person, I stayed at Fang Hong's house. But I never expected Fang Hong would be so shameless. He barged into the bathroom again while I was taking a shower. This time I was sure I locked the door, but he still broke in, and he was naked. Seeing his body, I threw the shower head at him with all my strength. "Get away! If you dare to touch me, I will definitely report you. I will make you go to jail." I thought this would intimidate Fang Hong, but he looked indifferent. Die under the peony, even as a ghost. One can be romantic. If you want to report me, go ahead. He lunged at me and hugged me tightly. I struggled frantically, kicking him with all my might. "Don't touch me! Get away!" But the strength difference between men and women was too great. I couldn't kick him away, and I was crying like rain. Just when I was in despair, the bathroom door was suddenly kicked open. Fang Haoran walked in with a serious face, and Fang Hong frowned when he saw his son. "What are you doing in here? Get out!" Fang Haoran pushed his dad away and pulled me behind him. "Dad, you married Aunt Ling. Yi is your daughter. You can't do this." Fang Hong was furious. "What I want to do is not for my son to point fingers at me. Get out!" Fang Haoran said, "If you touch Yu again, I will immediately call Aunt Ling." Fang Hong was completely enraged. I didn't expect that Fang Haoran, as Fang Hong's son, could be so ruthless. Fang Haoran was tall and thin, and he couldn't match Fang Hong's muscular build. Seeing Fang Haoran getting beaten up and bruised, I cried anxiously. After I finished getting dressed, I ran back to my room to find my phone to call the police, but I found my phone was missing. I suspected Fang Hong took my phone, and without my phone, I wanted to find a neighbor for help. As soon as I ran out of the room, I saw Fang Hong coming out of the bathroom. He looked at me gloomily. "Where do you think you're going?" He walked towards me step by step, and I was so scared that I trembled all over. "Don't come over." I looked around, trying to find something to defend myself. The next second, I suddenly heard a loud bang, and Fang Haoran knocked Fang Hong out with a vase. I looked in horror at Fang Hong on the ground and then at Fang Haoran. Fang Haoran squatted down and felt Fang Hong's neck. "He's not dead." Fang Haoran pulled my hand and dragged me over. Even though his face was full of injuries, he said to me, "Don't be afraid, he can't hurt you anymore." Hearing his words, my tears fell instantly. You are hurt." Fang Haoran smiled and shook his head. "Don't worry, I'm fine." He looked guilty. "I'm sorry, my dad." "You are you, your dad is your dad. If it weren't for you, I might." Fang Haoran said, "Call the police." I looked at him in shock, thinking he wouldn't let me call the police. After all, no matter what, that's his dad. Fang Haoran asked, "What's wrong?" I wanted to call the police just now, but I couldn't find my phone. Fang Haoran frowned, then used my phone to call. He took out his phone in front of me and dialed 110, and I looked at him with gratitude. "Brother, thank you so much." Fang Haoran shook his head. He looked down at me and suddenly touched my face. I suddenly felt a bit shy. After all, this action was somewhat intimate. Even though he was nominally my brother, we didn't have any blood relationship. To divert my attention, I looked at his face and said, "Brother, your face is injured. Let's go to the pharmacy and buy some medicine so I can bandage it for you." Fang Haoran nodded. I returned to the room, put on my backpack, and realized my phone was missing, but I had cash in my backpack. Fang Haoran wanted to pay for himself, but he was injured while saving me, so I couldn't let him pay. Since the pharmacy was just downstairs, and the police would also pass by the pharmacy, I wasn't worried about missing their arrival. After buying medicine at the pharmacy, we sat down on a bench by the tree, and I carefully applied the medicine to Fang Haoran. But as I was applying it, I suddenly smelled a strange odor. The next second, I lost consciousness. Dazed, I opened my eyes, but a light hit me, causing me to close my eyes again. I instinctively tried to move, but found my hands and feet bound apart. I panicked, struggled a bit, and then heard a familiar voice. "Ye, you're awake." I quickly looked in the direction of the voice, and saw Fang Haoran standing not far away, with a camera in front of him aimed at me. I was anxious and at a loss. "Brother, what are you doing?" Fang Haoran's injury hadn't healed, and looking at his wound, I thought about what happened last night. My mind felt rusty and couldn't process it. Fang Haoran walked over to me while taking off his clothes and smiled at me. "What do you think? Of course, I'm here for you." My mind exploded with a loud bang as I suddenly remembered the strange smell I had sensed before I fainted, and I looked at Fang Haoran in disbelief. "You did it on purpose? You did it on purpose. To gain my trust, you deliberately showed up to save me when Fang Hong barged into the bathroom. Not too stupid." He walked in front of me, completely undressed, and as his hand reached for me, I realized I wasn't wearing any clothes. "Don't touch me." "Fang Haoran, you're as disgusting as your dad, it's nauseating." Fang Haoran laughed and said, "I hope you can still say that later." He pinched my waist, and I wanted to resist, but my hands and feet were bound. He wanted to kiss me, and I spat directly in his face. "You scum!" Fang Haoran wasn't angry at all. Instead, he laughed loudly while pinching my chin and leaned down to kiss my lips forcefully. While kissing me, he touched my body. I wanted to resist, wanted to curse him, but my body uncontrollably surged with a strange shiver. Fang Haoran kept pinching my waist like a madman, and by the time it ended, I felt like my body wasn't my own anymore. Fang Haoran stood up, walked in front of the camera, looked at the footage, and leaned close to my ear, saying, "Yeah, your body is much more honest than your mouth." I glared at Fang Haoran. "Fang Haoran, you will definitely get your comeuppance." Fang Haoran didn't care at all. On the contrary, he laughed loudly. From that day on, I was imprisoned by Fang Haoran in this place where the sun didn't shine. At first, Fang Haoran would come almost every day, and each time he came, he would press me for more. He had some perverted habits, would play videos in front of me, and would bring some uniforms for me to wear. Then he would make me imitate the protagonist of the video, but I never cooperated. My hands and feet were always bound, and I was never dressed. Later, he would come every 2 or 3 days, probably to prevent me from starving to death. He would buy a lot of food and leave it here, but my hands and feet were still bound. I didn't know what date it was or how long I had been imprisoned here. I missed my mom so much, and thinking of her made me cry. Until I discovered that my backpack had been thrown in the corner. Because I was tied to the bed, I couldn't get down or reach my backpack. To get my backpack, I started to feign compliance with Feng Haoran, and when I was with him, I no longer resisted. On the contrary, I would cooperate with him. Afterward, I would lie in his arms, suppressing my disgust and acting cute. "Brother, can you please loosen my hands and feet? Being tied up on the bed is so uncomfortable, and my head is so dizzy." Ever since I learned Feng Haoran's true nature, I never called him brother again. He seemed to be stimulated by me calling him brother and went crazy, forcing me to call him brother. I endured the urge to vomit and negotiated with him. As long as he loosened my bindings, I would call him that, and he agreed. The next day when I woke up, I found my hands and feet were no longer bound. But instead of being unbound, he replaced it with shackles, chaining me to the bed. However, the shackles had length, allowing me to get out of bed and move within a certain range. I tried to walk to the corner to get my backpack but found the distance wasn't enough. But I didn't give up. I lay on the ground and stretched my hand to reach it. Just a little bit more, I stretched my neck hard and finally, at the last moment, managed to grab the strap of the backpack. I pulled the backpack over with all my might, eagerly unzipped it, and dumped everything inside out. A pink electronic watch fell out, and seeing it, my face lit up with joy. This was the birthday gift my mom gave me when I turned 18. It could receive and send messages and was linked to my SIM card. At that time, my mom hadn't married Feng Hong yet, so they didn't know my electronic watch had this function. I immediately turned on the watch, and as soon as it powered on, the screen displayed a low battery warning below 1%. Then dozens of text messages popped up, all from my mom. "Yeye, where are you? Don't be angry, Mom is back. Yeye, where have you been? Mom was wrong, Mom divorced Feng Hong, please come back, okay? Yeye, Mom really misses you, where are you? Do you really not want Mom anymore? Yeye, Mom loves you, Mom can't live without you." Looking at the messages my mom sent me, I instantly burst into tears. I quickly replied to one message. "Mom, save me." As soon as I sent the message, the watch ran out of battery and shut down. To prevent Feng Haoran from noticing anything unusual, I stuffed the watch and other items back into the backpack, then threw the backpack back into the corner before returning to bed. Lying on the bed, thinking of my mom, my tears fell again. Maybe it was my cooperation last night. Feng Haoran came over again tonight. This evening, when he forced me to do those things again, I did not cooperate with him and kept my eyes closed the whole time, not looking at him. After it was over, he held me to sleep, and I couldn't break free from him, so I could only turn my back to him. Feng Haoran quickly fell asleep, but I couldn't sleep at all. I opened my eyes in the dark. I don't know how long it had been, but I vaguely heard some noise outside, and my heart suddenly started to pound hard. Feng Haoran was sleeping soundly and did not hear the noise. Until a certain moment, with a loud bang, the door of the room was forcefully slammed open. Feng Haoran and I sat up at the same time, and several beams of light shone in. Immediately after, I heard that voice that made my tears flow. "Don't move, police." I saw my mom at the police station. When my mom saw me, she hugged me and cried heartbrokenly, constantly apologizing. "I'm sorry, Yeye, Mom was wrong." I hugged my mom, and tears silently fell. It was only after being rescued from the police station that I realized I had been imprisoned by Feng Haoran for a full 2 months. When I was rescued, I was so thin that only bones were visible. During those 2 months of imprisonment, Feng Haoran profited by posting every video to a paid website and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Later, the police also dismantled a large criminal organization based on his profit-making website. My mom divorced Feng Hong, and I sent the videos of Feng Hong coercing me to the police, and Feng Hong was also sentenced to 10 years in prison. Coming out of the courthouse, I stood in the sunlight, closed my eyes, and enjoyed the feeling of basking in the sun, with tears sliding down the corners of my eyes. When I was imprisoned by Feng Haoran, I once thought I might never see the sunlight again. The feeling of being able to stand freely in the sunlight is truly wonderful.